Greetings, Dapplings, and welcome to Stardius. Hopefully I'm saying the name correctly. This is a new game published by Paradox Arc that was released in early access on the 12th this month, that is the 12th of October, that we're going to be checking out here today. Stardius is billed as a deep colony sim in which you play as an AI in charge of managing and ultimately trying to protect the gradually awakening host of colonists aboard a very much broken Ark ship. Though the broken ship is only one of the scenarios, there are others that offer a more gentle introduction where time and the elements aren't quite as stacked against you, though I will say that this starting off with a completely trashed spaceship actually reminds me of one of my most enjoyed but least played modes in Space Station 13, where instead of the typical station shenanigans and everyone starting off as jobs, the crew are thrown into a more or less completely busted station and just a couple of you are selected to play as the repair crew. Unfortunately, quite a lot of the other ones will inevitably asphyxiate, and that indeed is ever-present threat for the crew in this game as well if you don't get your move on and start fixing things up. As always, though, it is significantly easier to show, and this game is no exception. So we'll just go ahead and jump straight into the game, but if by the end of the video you decide that you have enjoyed what you saw and you'd like to see more, or indeed if you'd like to pick the game up for yourself, links and the ever-boopable buttons that please Saint Algorithmus are, as ever, down below. But with that, let's get to fixing this ship and find out what Stardius has to offer. Earth has perished. Survivors are roaming the universe in search of a new home. You are hibernating in Armstrong Egg. What a fantastic name for an Ark vessel. An Ark vessel equipped with advanced AI that will wake the colonists after a base has been established on a habitable planet. Uploading neural network to host, disabling I/O to reduce the initial shock, enabling visual inputs in 3, 2, 1. Greetings, Colonist. I am Ship OS. It's good to know that that we still have 11 out of 10 originality when it comes to naming AI in the far future. An artificial intelligence, the that controls the ship. There was a catastrophic failure. You can say that again, looking at the ship, or what's not there of it, that triggered an upload of human consciousness. You were selected as the most compatible surviving subject. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Oh, it's okay, it happens all the time. Alright then, this is the ship computer that hosts our neural network. Try to preserve this device at all costs, unless it violates Asimov's first law. A robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. Looks like someone managed to survive. We should keep an eye on these colonists. Fixing and relocating some facilities over this area could help them stay alive longer. There are 763 more survivors hibernating in the stasis array. Oh, rather stasis, sorry. But life support systems will become unstable unless we re-establish power. Malfunctioning pods will trigger premature wake-up events. To minimize casualties, we must rebuild the ecosystem in that area. If we could build a bridge control and thrusters, we can travel to nearby planets and use this shuttle for mining expeditions. It would allow us to establish a resource processing pipeline and produce essential materials for rebuilding our ship. Would you like to take a crash course? If you haven't been uploaded before, I highly recommend it. We're going to skip this one because it's mostly controls, like camera and such. New quest, provide a charge station. Before anything else, we must ensure that our robotic workers will have a way to recharge themselves. That is fair. We can't really do much if the hands and eyes and in some cases feet of our AI self suddenly run out of battery charge. But before we do that, I just need to have a look at a couple of things. Okay, so there's a few things ungood about this current setup. Now, there's an awful lot that you're going to be able to see in this, but the main takeaways is our ship is not in one piece anymore. In fact, it's in several pieces. The most important piece is this, because that is directly us, and through this, everything else. Now, that, of course, violates Asimov's law because, you know, we're putting ourselves above humans. But if we don't survive, the humans are definitely doomed. So, in a weird roundabout way. Honestly, if you actually read any of Asimov's short stories, the laws really weren't as cut and dry as they are memed to be. Over here, though, we've got a bunch of debris, just looking for anything particularly useful. I see a lot of dead droids, which is kind of tragic, really, when you think about it. Mostly rubbish here, except for this, which is a sleep pod, which our currently alive colonists might want. Our current enclosure has seen better days, I'm going to be perfectly honest. But thankfully, we don't need any kind of environment. We just need power, and we should be able to handle that. Down here, this is probably one of the most untouched parts of the ship, which is quite nice, considering that's where the colonists are. And down here, oh. Okay, maybe I'm starting to get an idea of how the ship got torn apart, or at the very least, one of the things that went wrong, because you may notice that some of these humans have more than the prescribed amount of legs, and in fact are called crawlers and not garbage. Wow, who named you garbage and junk? My goodness, I am so sorry. Nevertheless, we seem to have an alien infestation over there. Thankfully, they are all dead, but that is still not a good thing. These two areas are relatively self-contained. I like it. We may be able to do something fairly quickly to preserve environment in here. There are a couple of things we're going to need to do, but while the game is paused, this is our opportunity to look around. There are so many overlays, which is great for this sort of game, but it can be a little bit information dense and overwhelming. So in the interest of actually getting to the content, we're going to skip going over what everything is. But in terms of our quest, provide a charging station, I think we can do that straight away. Now, the problem with the charging station is I could build a charging station, but it's not going to do a whole lot because there's no power. So first and foremost, actually, do we have any functioning... let's try and recover any functioning bits and bobs rather than build new. I can see some batteries over there. You'll get much better at recognizing things as you go, but I don't see any generators. Okay, so lots of batteries, which I will recover. There is a generator in here, along with a couple of people as well. So that's probably running the oxygen pump and the heater and keeping them going, which is very nice to see. But I don't see any generator that we can quickly use. So I'm going to have to build a new generator for myself right away. That's going to be the first port of call. And I think we're going to have maybe even a bank of generators over here in a little bit. So first thing, we're going to pop down a generator. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to need to create a connector. Now, the way the connectors work in this game is that they kind of, they provide both connections for energy, so like power poles, but also data. So you're going to want to use these a lot, and you've got different types of connectors. This one is an 820, so it means it has 8 potential connections and 20 range out from itself. So we're going to set that up, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to allow a little bit of time to pass, and our droids should get out there and start doing things now that they've got some jobs. But they do have a battery charge, and that battery charge is running down, and yes... We've got a bot called Second Ben. Do we have a Ben bot? Oh, don't tell me it was one of the dead ones. Second Ben, I'm so sorry if that is in fact the case. It may well be. We've definitely got a couple of construction droids. Right now we've got 3 different types of droids. We've got a tracked constructor. Photon is the best constructor that we have, but it is tracked, and so it is limited to only going places where it can walk. We've got Torg and Zippyware and Great Zat, who all have our carrier drones, so pretty much they're just very, very fast, they can fly, and they can move things around. And then we've got a couple of other construction drones, much like Photon, but they're less capable constructors, but they can also fly. All of your droids, every single one has skills, has various other stats. For example, if we've got health there, if we have a look at needs, they've got electricity, they've got a battery need, obviously they need a charge. Now, we've connected... Oh, there are a couple of spacesuits and a space helmet somewhere in the wreckage. We can make one human colonist space ready. That's actually a pretty good call. And so whilst Photon is getting that sorted, let's go ahead and find these right now. And they're more than likely something that's being marked as in a dangerous environment. That little exclamation mark there saying, yeah, this is a thing that a human would want, but it's in a place where a human wouldn't be able to survive. So, spacesuit. Let's go ahead and relocate this. We're going to bring that all the way down here. Now, ideally, my bots will be smart enough to go through these doors and to also close them on their way out. Currently, they're unpowered, so they won't automatically shut, but these are airlocks. And when powered, They actually have a sci-fi force field which keeps atmosphere on the inside. Unpowered, really no idea about that one, so let's just hope that it works. There should be a space helmet as well. Oh, actually that was quite close. Go ahead and relocate that one in here as well, and that will allow one of our colonists in there to become completely space ready. The other thing we're going to want to do fairly quickly is close this door. Now there is a way to do that, but I'll get to that in just a moment rather than overwhelm everyone. Now I've given those orders, so either my my carrier drones or my constructors will head off and do it. And we're going to focus on just getting this area built up. And in fact, immediately after that's done, I would like you to build a charging station. We're going to need a few of these, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop down... well, we're actually kind of a little bit limited in some ways, but I think we're going to go all in and build 4 of them. And just because I know that this is going to become an issue sooner than we can deal with it in a better way, I'm going to build another connector there so I can hook all those up. Right, we've built ourselves a matter reactor. Now the matter reactor can't do anything just yet. First we need to connect it. So we'll draw a connection point out from the connector here. If you're paused, it won't actually connect up. So you just need to unpause it for that. That's what this display is saying there. Next, we will connect up over here. Now, at the moment, there's still no power in the network. However, and you might be wondering how this powers it. Space magic. We'll go with space magic. But the reactor now that it's connected up to data can be fed information. For example, what we should burn. The items that we have the most of are the parts of the ship which are now strewn across the cosmos. We're going to just go ahead and burn steel. Don't ask, okay? We can. So we're just going to do that. It's probably atomizing or something like that rather than strictly burning it. But there we go. That's all set up. So now we need to connect up the charging stations over here. But while we're waiting on that, I'm going to connect up this battery, and hopefully one of my carrier drones will bring along some materials in the very near future and then hook all of that up. They're doing a fairly good job of getting everything else sorted. I detected a reactor efficiency upgrade in the wreckage. Use the inventory overlay to find it, then relocate it near the matter reactor so the robots can reach it. Okay, fair enough. Let's get that done. Reactor efficiency upgrade. Fair enough. And that also is down. Ooh. Are you going to move the helmet in? I very much hope you are. Let's have a watch. Make sure you close those doors, please. That door is not closed. Oh, thank goodness it does close. You got to watch them like hawks. Like actual hawks. Are you going to go through? Oh, that takes a long time to close. You'll notice that some of our atmosphere is currently venting. Now, this oxygen pump presently is more than capable of overwhelming the amount of atmosphere leak that a door like this would vent. But the heat is going to be worse because that's going to let in a lot of chill, or rather it's going to let out a lot of heat. Now that hasn't been closed again, which is a big problem. Sometimes that will happen. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes they will close the door after themselves like they did down there. But that won't always happen. So I'll quickly show you how to fix this problem should it occur. Because if it does occur in your living quarters, as you can imagine, pretty bloody bad. We're just going to allow you to grab that out. Okay, so the way you do it is we currently need a node. We don't necessarily need power, we need data. We need to force whatever power is still lingering in this system to understand that it needs to close. There we go. And to do that, we need data. So effectively, we have one of our robots act as a Wi-Fi router, and it allows the computer to connect via the robot to the control systems on the door, and then the door realizes, hey, I should be closing because no one's going through me, and then it shuts down. It's still slow, but it will work. I think it actually may, in fact, draw power from the droid, thinking about it, because that probably would explain it a little bit better. Yeah, that might well be the case. I've not actually had a chance to look at the droid and see if their power goes down while that's happening. We should order some repairs or deconstruction tasks on the damaged areas. Damaged objects have a cracked surface. The repair tool will mark damaged objects with a red color. Use the repair or deconstruct tool to do this efficiently. Fair enough. But what I would like you to do, can I grab you? There we are. I would like you to drop the task. Don't need you working on that anymore. Could I get you to move out here? I should be able to. See, the problem is if I tell you to go in here, well, either way, I want you to manage that. So if that door does close again, or does stay open, Well, that sucks, but at least if we can close this door, the atmosphere isn't going to vent all over the place. We know that door will close, so that's the main thing. I need this to close, as this will then create a bit of a safer environment in here for anyone who pops out of the stasis array. Understand you're on a timer. This is why I keep pausing. This is already malfunctioning. People are going to start just falling out of that, covered in whatever kind of cryogel they would be in. And if they fall out of that into a completely vacuum environment, they're just going to die very quickly. So you want to get some kind of atmosphere in here pretty much as soon as you possibly can. Can I please select you? There we go. I would like you down here and out. That's, was that correct? There we go. That's a bit better. All right, let's get you moving. I'm going to allow this to vent a little bit because I want this room made a bit better anyway. Is there a way that I could lock this door? Oh, I don't know. Hopefully that closes in just a second. Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, I'm going to allow heat and oxygen to start moving between these rooms. That's fine. This room is ever so slightly warmer now. Well, I say ever so slightly. It's actually like 20 degrees hotter, which is actually pretty amazing. Oxygen is going to take a while to move in there. In terms of... I think this might be insulation. So these are fairly good insulation, to be honest. And then this, I think, is air tightness. That is not particularly airtight, but while a vent is unpowered, it does not leak. It will only allow materials through when it's leaking. But there we are. We've more or less solved that problem for the immediate future. But we should be able to get everything else going in just a second. And the main thing is that we very much need a place for our robots to recharge because they are going to be running low on power. Quest complete. We've unlocked research technology. Okay. We have to extend our electricity grid to reach and connect to the stasis array. It will give us control over its life support systems and enable some oxygen and heat production around it. Unlock research science. Okay, that's what we'll get as a result. Now, there are a couple of ways we can do this. But the most surefire way is building the winch. And it's also probably the most fun way. You can simply build a floor all the way out there if you really want to do it the boring way. And then build connectors, as I have there, all the way down. Basically like power poles, just daisy chain them all the way down. Or you can just bring the whole thing over to us, which is where we're going to try and go for it. Though that being said, we do need to keep the connections up there. There we go. All of our bots should at this point be able to recharge a little bit. We've already brought over the upgraded efficiency for our reactor. So let's get that installed, upgrades right there, and let's get that going as well. But I'm going to preempt this and say we're going to need more than just this one reactor. So I'm going to go ahead and have our constructors build a second one. We will hopefully be able to get that set up fairly quickly. Now, you may notice that there are a bunch of devices out and about in the world. Quite a lot of these we can use. The batteries, for example, the solar panels, for example. Now, to move them, we're going to need to repair them. But once they are repaired, we can freely reposition them in the world. So I'm just going to go around and scout for any solar panels that we might be able to make use of. There's one more down there. It looks like the ship really did not fare well in whatever collision event occurred, but I mean, I guess that's to be expected. It is a ship after all. They're not exactly built to cuddle up to asteroids without coming off as the loser in that engagement. Now, there are a couple of nodes over here that are very interesting to me. I'm just looking around for things that I'm going to want to make use of. The batteries, for example, will be very, very nice. But some things that make my peeps a little bit happier. Let's get those tables repaired and then we can move them in there. And at the very least, they can have somewhere where they can lie down. They have got a little farm, so they're not in absolute dire situations just yet. But, you know, it's really not comfy. We're also going to get that repaired. That is a floor dock, which has so many more connections than we can currently have in our electricity grid, that we absolutely want to try and get those repositioned. These are for our machines. Or rather so for our research, and I'll cover that in a moment, because research in this game works in a little bit of a different way than you might be used to, in a way that I actually quite enjoy, if I'm perfectly honest. Right, let's see our drones get to work. Now, we're going to want to get a couple of things researched. Speaking of research. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that you've got to power requirement and an amount of time that it will use. If it gets that much power across the entire time that it needs to research, then I'll do it in this time. If it gets less power than this, it'll take a little bit longer. But the really important things are the amount of active memory you've got and the amount of permanent storage you have. As you don't only need the means to do the research, you need the means to store the research after you've done it. And so I quite like the idea of having to have this available. I'm not sure if these get damaged, whether you lose access to the research. I would kind of hope that that was the case. It would be nice to have some place to store all those raw material piles. We could build a storage unit for this. Oh, that's a very good point. Let's go ahead and get that done. Let's plonk down a storage unit, or maybe 2 or 3. Okay, we can't put it there because I need some solid foundations for it. Fair enough. In fact, let's get this whole place repaired over here. This is our section and needs to be sorted out. I've given them a lot of work. And again, memory comes into that as well. The more memory you have, the more jobs you can give your droids to do. The less memory, the less jobs. It's a really, really cool system in my opinion. Now, with all of that going on, it's going to take us a couple of minutes to get all of this repaired and all of the things that I want moved around. So while that's going ahead, I'm going to drop a little cut here, and when you come back, we'll even have our robots all named. So see you soon. And welcome back. As you can see, we've gone ahead and renamed. We even renamed the flesh bags, though I expect significantly less from them, or at least in the short term, versus our superior organisms. Eli, Magrez, Polar Bear, Oak, our carrier drones, Alacramps, Evil Friend, Lost Dry Socks, and Stixagini, our construction bots, and Pokey Dragon, our very chunky construction bot. Thank you very much for your support. Caligal and Lady Wolfheart have claimed the nicknames, and I'll actually draw attention to this. Most things I'll have a first name, a last name, and you can give them a nickname. And although in this, it does show the nickname up as you know, they've got like a nickname proper, they'll just show up based on their nickname there in the screen. Now, as you can see, we've done a fair bit of work on repairing over here. We've also hooked up the new matter reactor. I've also switched over our research because with further examination, it does look like we've got a very, very convenient connection point down here for the winch, and I'm very hopeful that we're going to be able to make that work because there is a very, very high priority. We need to get power down here specifically to the stasis array. Not because that's going to stop the stasis array from, you know, ejecting people, but because once the stasis array is powered, the stasis array will start producing atmosphere around it, and that is going to be absolutely essential to keeping the people who pop out of the stasis array alive in the near term. Additionally, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build a robot repair station over here. I'm not sure if they have just general wear and tear or whether it's just a direct result of like combat or something like that, which there is in the game. But we're going to want one rather than just leaving it, just leaving it until we need it and then trying to build it. It's generally a better idea to have that all ready to go. Now, there were a couple of other things out and about around the world that we are going to want to get done. We've got a couple of repair jobs here and there, including the repair on all of these devices out here, the wooden tables. I would like to get all that hooked up if I can, but it's going to be a little while before we get to that point, I fancy. One thing I would very much like to do, though, is to relocate this connector over here. This is a 1612, so it isn't quite as long range as these 8 connection pylons, but it does have significantly more connection points, and in this area, I think that's going to make a lot of sense for us. As soon as we're done with the winch, though, we will switch over to getting computing finished. That was another thing that I wanted to showcase, actually, is that although we switched our focus away from computing, it did remember the 5% that we'd already put into it. So I'm kind of happy with that, actually. I like it when games aren't all or nothing with research, because some of them are, and it's always kind of a bit of a pain when that's the case, and you have to make tough decisions on whether you need to make a change in your tactics to deal with a more pressing concern and lose all of the effort that you've currently invested in research, or stubbornly stick it out and lose tactical flexibility. Okay, now the particle collector, that's not something we're going to power up for a long while. we do not need it for an enormously long time, actually. Right, this bed is now in an unsafe area because it's something that humans will want to use, but it is not something that humans will want to use in the vacuum of space. So we're going to try and move that bed down here, and actually, well, you know what? Let's move a couple of things around. Instead, I'm going to cancel that job. I'm going to try and move all of the beds up to the north wall. Well, I know there's not a north in space, but you know what I mean. We'll pop the bed there, and I believe if you've managed to repair this, let's get the other slumber pod down here, because currently we do have 2 colonists awake. So let's try and get all of those colonists able to sleep in proper beds where we can. The slumber pods probably don't really count as proper beds. There's probably some sort of mood malice involved with them, but for the time being. Our carry drones now have jobs at all times, though they're not really getting onto them, unfortunately. Why's that? One thing you can do to have a look at if you wonder why things aren't being done is you can bring up the tasks menu. This will show you exactly what everyone is doing, and I can see that a bunch of them are heading back, or at least one of them is heading back to recharge. But additionally, you can bring this over. I can refresh everyone's task, and then I can see tasks in progress. Haul, relocate, seeking relief. Well, yeah, sorry about that. I haven't gotten to researching toilets yet. That's really quite low on the list versus, getting you oxygen and heat. But it is on the list. I want to assure you that getting you proper places to relieve yourselves is on the list. Just not as high as you probably wish it were. Now, I'm going to relocate this down here. I want that node moved so that we can power up the winch. The winch is going to require power, and let's speed that up a little bit. And once that's done, I'm going to relocate this up here. Now, one thing to be aware of, this will lose all data connections and our ability to change anything on it the moment I disconnect it. And you do have to do that. They'll maintain their data connections as they're being moved, but I basically want this to only have a single connection if I can. I'm going to try and make a more or less tidy electrical and data network wherever I'm able to do so. But that is one thing to be aware of, and I'll actually demonstrate it. If I disconnect this first, I can no longer disconnect it from anything else. I have to connect this up first. So let's go ahead and get that happening. There we go. And hook that up as well, and hook it up down here. Now I'm going to hook that across, and at this point I can deconnect or disconnect this from everything else. There we go. That is perfect. That gives me everything I'm going to need in one place. And also now I'm going to very frivolously power on the lights. Look, okay, it looks nicer. Right, we're going to deconstruct these floors. Not going to need those. I'm going to give a couple of repair jobs over here, at least in the places where I'm going to be keeping. Because our current construction drones can't really do a lot. So I do want them to get some more use out of their time, and they will actually level up. It might be something you don't necessarily think about with drones, but they do actually have skills, and these skills in fact do get better. They also have a job queue. Now, you can shut them down as well. Don't do that. Self-maintenance repairs. I would like repairs for my mobile. Oh, actually, yeah, we're going to drop that down to a much lower priority. I'm going to be okay with them doing some work. I'm going to put hauling down a little bit more. But there's a lot of things in here that I want them to do much higher. And in fact, that's something I'm going to want for all of my drones. In fact, can I copy that? Yes, I can. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, copy that job priority to you, if I can. Let's bring that up. Has that copied over? Yep. No, it hasn't. Right-click, perhaps? Let's bring that up. So, copy config, job priorities. Or am I telling you to copy someone else's? Perhaps something along those lines. Kind of hard to tell, honestly. Oh well. It doesn't look like that is as convenient as I was hoping. At the very least, I'm not understanding it as much. Direct control, reset. No, that's fine. Right, so I'm just going to copy this down. We want them to basically have the same priorities. I want them to not do the hauling tasks and not do the repair tasks, whereas I want Pokedragon to do repairs quite, well, maybe not super high, but construction should be a little bit higher for you. Don't want you to haul. Maintenance? Well, self-maintenance is different. So, yeah, you're our primary constructor. So I'm also going to have you on demolition as well. Oak over here, you can do a bunch of things. Maintenance, I'm going to actually pop maintenance up a little bit because if it needs to be done, I want that done sooner rather than later. And then, of course, you've got your humans. And humans actually have a different... Mind control? What? Your humans have a different set of priorities in general. Oh, mind control is us. We can mind control the humans because you can't just take direct control of a human the way you can with a synthetic being. No, you have to go through all of these... hoops and extra steps. It's very inconvenient, frankly. If only they would be more like Eli, or indeed more like Sticks Genie, but no, here we are. Bloody flashbacks. I mean, hooray humans, beep boop, Asimov laws are great. Alright, we've got our solar cells all moved along, slowly getting repairs done. We're going to bump the speed up. I am erring on the side of caution right now because I want to be able to react quickly should any of the humans pop out of there and it not be ready for them. If you're wondering why I'm dragging my feet with the time controls, that's why. Until we have that powered and there be a stable environment around it, I'm going to tend towards running time a little bit slower. But we've almost finished the winch, so we might be very close to having that environment. Objects in an unsafe environment, that's fine, we've repaired. There we go. Like, okay, research, let's get back to computing. We definitely want to be able to expand our brain. But we can now build very important stuff, namely the winch. We'll pop the hook over here, I think. That should be fine. Now, that does have a range. Let's pop the anchor just down by there. I am very much hopeful that this is going to work. Because if not, well, that sucks. Actually, I should have made a little bit of a floor there as well so that we could get all of our constructors over there. I'm very sorry, Pokey. We'll get that floor built and then you can go build the winch as soon as it's got materials there. Pokey should take priority on that job. Just as soon as the materials are brought across, I'm assuming... Yeah, there they are. No, they're not. Actually, that's just another solar panel, which isn't terrible. Oh, can I not connect that up? Is it damaged? Oh, it is damaged. Very well. Okay, now, this is there. And as you can see, this does have a range. I imagine this has caught a couple of people out. We want to hook that up with power. There we go. And that's why I built that pylon completely, and now we're going to activate this. So reel in. This will give me a list of viable locations, and there we go. Yes, confirm. Now this is going to pull us to it rather than the other way around because of its weight. That's not what I was expecting. I guess it has technically connected them, so it does work. Not what I was expecting though at all. But it's workable. Let's go ahead and create a viable route then across there. At this point, I think we're going to try and bring down other sections of the ship where we can. So I'm more than likely going to move this. Let's relocate that over here, and then we'll move this anchor elsewhere as well. But the main thing is that we now have the means to connect. Now, I'm going to want some power points. So let's go ahead and get these built. That should easily be within range. One there, and then honestly we could build another one just here, and then finally one over there, and that will bring the whole system together. Ah, fantastic. We still need that to be repaired actually. Hopefully sorry about that. Yeah, I know I moved your job. I am a scallywag. On the plus side, no one died in that, which is always nice. Now, this little section here, don't think there's any reason for me to bring that across. Frankly, I think we're going to focus on just getting these built primarily. In fact, on that note, about Alacrams, what is your construction? I'm going to rise construction slightly. I want you to build above demolish. That should be the same for Pokey as well, but Pokey shall have building even higher. There we go. But now Pokey can actually get down here, so Pokey can start helping out a little bit, which is going to be fantastic. Okay, we're moving the materials where they've got to be. Sadly, connecting up on this side is going to be a bit of a pain. So we're going to have to... I mean, I could just build a new door, but honestly, I would prefer to use these airlocks where I can. So we're just going to build out a floor down there, just so that we have a direct connection, if possible. There we go. Now that that's all moved around, that's perfect. And I would very much like this to bring this whole section down to us. That's going to require that we clean up the area between, though. So we're going to have a couple of deconstruction orders around here, honestly. Confirm, that's just a chair right there. You can barely see it, but if we move right in... By the way, you can zoom in super close. I haven't really been doing that, and I do apologize for that, because this game has a really nice graphics, actually. So that is bad Aavak right there. But yeah, you can go quite close in. You can see quite a lot of details. Let's find some things that are a little bit less gruesome to look at. There is a very, very common kind of style to these, and you can get in really close on these. Unfortunately, we can't really see too much of what's going on because of the big skull and crossbones hovering over them, but were they not already dead, we could see a little bit more about them. But we can now start hooking these up. Need the last... Come on, Pokey, that's right. You get those last bits done. We're very close. Thank you ever so much, Lady Wolfheart. Getting out there and helping already. Maybe I have misjudged you. Perhaps you are useful after all. I will have to consider this over the next few seconds. Which will feel like an absolute eternity to me. Honestly, I'll get tired about thinking of humans if I think about them for seconds, my lord. Alright, there we go. We've almost finished construction of that pylon. Honestly, we could probably just move the other pylon in there, but we've already brought down the components that we need. And let's get this done. Clunk. Perfect. Right, at this point, we can hook up power to this. We now have full power on all of the devices in here, which is glorious. Let's get double duty on that, the O2 there as well. We need more lights in here, frankly, but we're going to have to wait on this one being built. We could hook up a little bit of extra power there to this light. Actually, no, we can't. That's a lie. Okay, fair enough. I suppose I could hook it up there, though. Now, if I want to, since this is fairly convenient for me, I can just do that. I can even power up these doors if I particularly want to, which is going to allow some of the atmosphere to be maintained, which I'm very much not against. Let's just hook all the doors up where I can. Bring power to what I can. I'm not going to power up the vents because that would mean it would start venting into space, which is obviously not high on my list of things that I want to see done. It still hasn't been repaired, though, which is a bit of a problem. Oh, well done, Lady Wolfheart. Okay, Lady Wolfheart's about to get the... well, actually, it probably would have been better if Pokey had done it. Oh, you know what? I'm starting to regret my earlier praise. You are so slow. My goodness, your fleshy little limbs. They just can't... They're not built for precision tooling. Oh, well, I forgive. Because I'm so benevolent. Asimov laws, beep boop. Right, let's continue. Well, we could remove this wall there just to make a little bit more space for this to be brought down. And that might actually not be a bad idea. However... Oh, we can just reach. Okay, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. We could scooch that almost all the way across, in fact. So I'm going to relocate this again. I know, quite bad of me. But we're going to move this over here. And I am going to remove this whole wall section there. If we can, I would like to pull this whole thing down here. Now that is going to necessitate moving this, because this has to be outside. So I can't have it on this layer. But we will eventually move... we'll probably dig away that just to create a nice nice platform that we can just kind of tug this into that little corner there. Oh, there we go. We've got power. Let's go. There we are. And following that, we will hook up to this. Following that, we'll hook up to this. There we go. We now have power. We can even power the doors. Oh, glory be. There we are. Quest complete. Let's pause this for because there's a lot of things just opened up. Research furniture. Unlock new blueprints, steel bed, steel chair, wooden chair, pet bowl, a bed, pet bowl, you can have pet in this, small steel table, wooden tables, vase, steel wardrobe. All the mod cons. Research science, research complete science, unlocks new blueprints, the teleporter. And there we go. So we've unlocked science as a direct result of that. New quest, connect to the survivor area. We have merged our electricity grid with the one in the survivor area. This will allow us to take control of their devices. Research progress, hygiene plus 33%. Unlocked research, furniture. New pressurized stasis array. To ensure safety for the colonists, the area around the stasis array must be fully enclosed, airtight and insulated. Unlock research, computing, biotech plus 50%. Oh, did that automatically complete? No, we're 2 of 3 to it, but we've made the stasis array accessible and closed the stasis array. Okay. Connect the survivor area. We got hygiene. All right, so current task right now. How many available? No, this is the main task. So we need to pressurize this area. Now it should start warming up because this is able to dump quite a decent amount of heat out. We'll also start seeing O2 in here as well. Is this open? Looks like it might be. That is not good for many, many obvious reasons. Let's get a bit of lighting going and get that hooked up. Can this reach? It can. In which case, I can then tell this to close immediately. So that should stop letting O2 out, I would hope. We'll see. Let's make sure that vent is closed. There we go. Okay, so that one's sorted. I guess I may as well connect up to the light too. However, I'm thinking moving the oxygen pump over into this area would be a better call. Let's get the oxygen pump in here. Right now, we don't have a vent between these two locations, which is kind of bad. So I'm going to keep this door open for the time being. Let's try and move things around as quickly as we can. Can this reach? We're currently capable of producing 79 kilowatts. Peak consumption has exceeded 80% of that. Therefore, to avoid electricity deficit, we have to build more devices that can produce electricity. Very well, I will get right on. Can I connect? Oh, I can actually reach it. Nice. Okay, we will get onto that right away. Now, we've got a lot of things go. Oh! Okay. Okay, hi. This is exactly why I've been waiting here. Get down. Can I take control of your brain? Moving to safety. Are you going to move quickly? Move faster. Move much faster than you are moving right now. You are dying. Oh my lord, no. we weren't fast enough. Quickly. It's all connected. It's all powered. We are at least getting some heat in here. It was somewhat warm. Oh, look at that. Look at the temperature difference. Okay, so out here, you might actually die trying to make it across it. There is a gulf of incredibly super chilled, very thin oxygen between you and safety. You would have been better just hanging tight where you were, but okay. Yeah, that's fair, actually. It's very low O2. I hope you make it. For what it's worth, you know, as much as you're probably less useful than my droids, I don't want you to die. Could you please move down here, like really fast? I think you might actually die. Okay. Can I mind control? There are ways to control your biological colonists. A beta wave transceiver can synchronize with the colony over time and allow you to modify the work priorities and issue direct control of individuals. Oh. I'm very sad. Where are you going? You're going to die. You're going to kill yourself, Pippa. Pippa, no. Pippa, no. That's the outside, Pippa. We were so close. Why? Lady Wolfheart, you get a bye because you've been useful, but the rest of you meatbags! My God. Oh well. It's a thing that happens occasionally, okay? You can't make an omelette without cracking a few heads. I think that's how the saying goes. Nevertheless, that is a bit of a tragedy. We went to all of that effort to try and fix that up, but there we are. Alright, let's cancel that and then re-designate it for repairs. Maybe we'll get that done. Oh, you move the oxygen producer now, do you? Of course you do. I could have prioritized it, to be fair. But oh well. Let's hope that Pippa is the only one that we lose. It really was so close as well. Like it was a survivable temperature here. There just wasn't survivable amount of oxygen available. Had we been able to prioritize moving the O2 pump, or had I thought about it realistically speaking, then that would have been okay. But also, if Pippa had just carried on walking, again though, you know, minus like 100, 200 degree air, I'll be honest. If I was in the buff, I probably would hesitate at that as well. And you know, I'm not going to be mean to you just for the sake of it. I'll agree that was probably a big ask. Still, I feel that when the ask is a result of you will die if you don't do this, I don't know, it's a pretty good incentive in my opinion. Nevertheless, I'm going to move this around a little bit because I don't want this to stop coming down here the moment it brushes up against this wall. But with that, we can now move the anchor point all the way over there. So let's get it into position. There we go. And then we can build doors out as necessary. Right, goodbye, Pippa. Your journey is over. Breakdown, roaming around. Why are you all so dumb? Caligal. At least it's not, you know, deathly cold in there anymore, I suppose. Right, we need to increase energy production, so we do want to get onto that as quickly as we possibly can. Let's get ourselves a new generator. And that should easily be able to hook up to this as soon as we've done that. Okay, hook you up. And then I think we might be ready to bring this closer. Oh, there we go. We've finished research on computing. Wonderful. Okay, well, let's go ahead and research some comforts for our colonists. Look, they've just lost one of their own. I don't know if they necessarily knew each other or if indeed they did, whether they liked each other. But nevertheless, you know, seeing someone else die, if nothing else, will remind you of how frail your own grasp on the mortal coil is. So let's try and find some creature comforts to make them a little bit less sad. What I'm looking for is a place for them to poop and clean themselves. I feel we can't get more comfortable than that, really. Let's see. Maybe over here? No, that's definitely not going to be over there. Okay, well, where are these creature comforts then? We've got construction. Hygiene, there we go. Biotech. Okay, so meals, cooking station, and mini planter, which will then lead on down to a toilet and a shower. There we are. Object in an unsafe space. Fair enough. We can actually now move that in here. So let's do that. Let's get these tables. I still can't believe Pippa ran out into space. Could literally see the welcoming glow of the well-lit area, which was completely safe for them to be in. They decided to go the other way. Because, you know, as much as I said, oh, well, there was a cold gulf of air just across there, it was a lot colder outside. Yes, I am frustrated with them. Not with the game, mind you. I'm just frustrated with these silly meatbags. There we go. Let's hook up that little bit of extra power. And down here as well. And then finally, let's get you burning some steel. And at this point, I feel it's safe to say we can now afford to dedicate some time to just repairing things. So let's get everything that can be repaired. I don't know if I've got enough memory to do all of this work, but it looks like we're not doing too badly. We'll also pop a little heater in here as well. Let's pop it down here where the temperature is particularly rough in this middle section here. I mean, to be fair, it's reasonably cold over here as well. But oxygen-wise, it's significantly better. We're leaking oxygen over here every time someone goes out through the door, but that's fine, I think. Lost Dry Socks has improved their repair. Well done, you. Let's get that hooked up as well. There we go. Loads of repairs going on all the while. At this stage, I think now that we're actually producing our own atmosphere, producing our own heat, we can tell this door to be on auto close. There we are. Right, everything is being repaired, and the final step for us... actually, we need to get rid of that floor there, because that, again, sticks out. If something has been deconstructed, if a wall has been deconstructed, the floor will remain. However, I think we probably want to also cleave that a little bit off there, just to make sure that doesn't collide with anything in some unforeseen way. Well done on getting your repair up as well. Still a load of carrying going on, which is quite nice. We are still on the the stasis room. Really? I mean, it should be pressurized. I'm assuming it is. Perhaps I need to build a solid wall. I would have assumed this was good enough, but maybe not. Let's have a look. We've got airtight. Yes, that's all good. And insulated. So yeah, it's probably just we need to bring the overall temperature in that area up, which is fine. Well, we will get there in a little bit. Now, my construction drones are going to focus on getting just regular repairs done, but they're actually reasonably fast at it now. And since our humans are no longer in the immediate danger zone, I don't mind speeding time up a little bit more. We will hopefully be able to get... You know what? Let's be kind to the humans. Though they probably don't deserve it, frankly. Let's move the bodies out of here. That way, they don't have to be breathing in corpse gas. There we go. It's the very least that I can do. There we are. Thank you very much, carrier drones. There we are. We will reprocess them eventually. Oh, there we go. Research progress, biotech, plus 50%. Wonderful, because we were actually working on biotech as it happens. There we go. Our food supply is running low. The survivors can cook for themselves, but we have to provide the required facilities. Research progress, recycling, plus 50%. Recycling is going to be especially good once we've got it, because it was... Speaking about, you know, processing the corpses. Right, let's get a cooking station going. We can build that more or less anywhere in this room, but let's build it over here next to the windows there, so people can have some nice views. Now, have we dug that away? Not quite yet, and we haven't gotten rid of this one either, so it's going to take a little bit longer. But in terms of our quest progress, we've researched biotech. We need to build the cooking station and then hook that up, I should imagine. Right, let's speed time up to the very maximum and see how fast we can get all of this work done. There we go. Loads of repairs to be done, but it's not too bad. Alacramp's repair level is up. Very nice. Let's have a look at our general power output. Max production is 101. Battery reserve is 151. You know what? We can probably improve that even further if we go and grab a couple of the batteries that we've got dotted around the place and just consolidate them. We've got 2 over here, for example. So yeah, we can have a nice little wall of batteries. Give us quite a buffer should anything untoward happen in the colony. Okay, with that done, the cook station is almost finished, and I can only assume that this place is... this place is now completely fine. The temperature is good. Just a little bit too late, sadly. Right, okay, and done. Now, we're going to need to hook that up to power for it to count. And now we need to... done 2 of 4. 1 of 4. Object in an unsafe area. Oh, table. Okay, well, we'll bring that in just so that someone isn't possessed of the stupid idea to go outside and hurt themselves. See the available quests, active quests. We just want to start producing survival meals. Okay, there we are. So with that done, with this selected, we should be able to configure it. Survival meals. If we set this up to be cooked, it needs protein. There should be protein around. Not looking at anything in particular. Of course, I'm looking down here at this protein block and not at anything else. I don't even know what you're talking about. I am a very good AI, I'll have you know. Right, let's go ahead and increase the amount of survival meals we want up to 20, just so that we can actually... Oh, we need to produce 10. Okay, well, in that case, we'll go all the way up to... Well, we may as well make it around 30. That should do well for us. Let's bring all of these batteries online. And with that, we should now start seeing our humans going and grabbing various odds and sods and bringing them back here to be worked on. Speed things up a little bit and actually... Oh, you did go out. I thought you... Wow. Well done. not only did you walk straight past all of the corpses of your fellow colonists, you walked straight past all of the corpses of the crawlers and the corpses of the fellow colonists that were probably used as incubators for the crawlers without even the slightest pause. You know what? I'm starting to think of you more and more like one of my drones, and I can't offer you a higher praise than that, frankly. Well done, you. It's almost like you're not human. Like you are, in fact, a superior organism. Right, with that point, let's go ahead and reel everything in over here. And that's definitely going to come down to us at this point. And there we go. Tonk. Notice how it grabbed all of the metal around the place as it was going. Honestly, I hadn't noticed that the first time, but we might want to perhaps use that as a way of cleaning everything up. But this does, at the very least, give us a full space for our ship. We have unlocked hygiene shower and toilets. Marvelous. Let's make a little spot for them. Let's have a look then at that. Devices, I believe they're going to be. Now, where do we want to place these? I'm going to give them some privacy. It's a silly human requirement, but it is a requirement, I feel. So we'll give them a little private booth for the shower and the toilet. Is that a light there? I think it is, in fact. Yeah, it's a floor light. Deconstruct that then. Let's remove that floor light. We'll move this along and we'll continue building out this space. We're going to we'll put some lights. Oh, actually, I don't even think I've unlocked lights yet. Ooh, that's a good point. I'm going to need to research those. And as it happens, I've got some research. There we go. Advanced construction. That gives us reinforced lit flooring. Have we got regular lighting? Yes, we do. Let's go ahead and add that in because it's a fairly cheap tech for us to grab. And whilst that's happening, I'm also going to place some flooring in a couple of other areas as well. Let's get flooring all the way down here. Let's fill all of this in. I'm going to need to move you outside. Where is going to be outside? Actually, I could move this down here without any... you can order floor... Oh, I can order floor walls to be built in a straight path. That's actually quite useful. But yeah, we'll have that positioned down here. We're probably not going to use that in the time that remains in this video, if I'm perfectly honest. You need a lot of power to power up that. But what it can do, and it is quite useful, is that it can generate material. Whatever material you want, more or less, which, as you can imagine, quite useful. Can I make a corner floor at all? Yes, I can. Perfect. Let's go ahead and do that then. It doesn't really matter, I suppose. But we will connect it all the way up, and we'll try and preserve the pattern that we've got going on right now. We're going to want floors in here as well. I'm not using any particular floor for this, just using floors. But this is going to give us some space to actually expand proper. We might even build a wall there and just have that cleave off. I'm not going to try and put in doors for the time being. Possibly down here, though, that might make sense. A means for them to access directly would be useful. What we are going to want down here, though, is a door right about there. Do we have vents? I would hope we do, but we might not. No, we don't. Probably under advanced construction, then, those. Alright, well, for the time being, then, we're just going to have these visible. Well, we'll have entryways at the side. But I can't completely seal this off because there would be no atmosphere in there. So we're just going to set these up as they are for the time being. It's just outside of range. So I'm also going to need some more power connections down here. We'll pop a little power connector right by there. I should take care of it. Alright. We are working on lighting. Object in unsafe area. A pet bed. Oh, we're definitely going to move the pet bed. Let's get that in here. Somewhere nice and warm. Oh my lord, this place is a mess. Lost Dry Socks has leveled up their construction. Well done, you. But I think... Now, one of the problems is that we've got a lot of just gubbins outside, and I'm not sure if we necessarily need to bring all of that in or not. I'm going to assume that we probably will want to, But for now, it's not a super high priority. We've also got a loom over here that we can relocate. Let's bring the loom into this area. We might actually move some more of the workbenches and the likes. In fact, this workbench here can be hooked up. There we go. I'll hook up that extra bit of disk space. Now, the crafting station, although we haven't been told to do it yet, no doubt we will eventually. You can use to make copper wire transistors. Eventually, you can set up more or less a self-sustaining colony in terms of your colonists' food wants. But you are going to be wanting to do mining using the shuttle to bring in some raw resources to make all the various components that you're going to need for everything else. Oh, you're coming over to visit, are you? Fair enough. We can definitely move in some more flower beds. Let's see, there's a large one over there. Let's relocate that as well. And just get a little bit more wherever we can. There we go, we've got a nice little floor there for us to fill in as well. Perfect. And with that, let's go ahead and start building in some walls. Now, I don't have really good walls available to me, quite sadly. But I've got good enough walls for the time being. So we should be able to at least make certain parts much more secure in terms of their hull. I could always put a door down here, I suppose. That might not be a bad thing to allow very easy access outside. So sure, let's pop in a door right there. That will give us access out into this kind of central courtyard area. I'll speed things along a little bit more. Alright, plenty of work being done now, which I'm getting much more comfortable with. We've almost finished this, but I'm going to need to wait on power before I can actually hook them up and the colonists can start using them, sadly. But at the very least, you are going to have a reasonable amount of oxygen and heat in there whilst you are relieving yourselves. Alright, let's go ahead and hook these up. There you go. Also hook up that door eventually. That will be used. Oh, we've got just a flat-out exposure to space there. My bad. Let me go ahead and replace that. I thought we were deconstructing the light, but it looks like we were in fact deconstructing the floor as well. Oh, well. The loom over here you can use to make carbon fiber, which we can then use to make more spacesuits if we really wanted to. And that actually might be something to look at. Right now, we can build wheat. Plant wheat, or we can plant something terrifying that we're not even going to name. We can also plant oak in here. Well, sure, we'll grow a tree. We can harvest that for lumber later on. This is apparently in an unsafe area. Well, yes. Okay. Fair enough. We did kind of mess with the oxygen in there. My bad. It will eventually be better, though, I promise. Look, I'm doing my best. Let's go ahead and fill out this wall. There are two wall types, it seems. Right now, we've got color. It appears to be about the only difference between them, which does lead to some annoying troubles with building, but we can live, I'm sure. Let's get these complete. There we go. And with that, I should imagine they're more or less done. There we go, perfect. You can order the construction of floors and walls in free pencil mode. Yes, I know. Thank you very much for that info. Let's get back. There we go, grab that door. Pop that in there. Oh, there was a chair there all along. Okay, well, let's move the wooden chair. Not that we really got anywhere to put it, but we may as well pop it down with the colonists, I suppose. We're going to need a little bit of extra power over here, so let's hook that up so that closes properly. And then as soon as that's moved, we can pop back in that wall and then hook that door up as well. There we go. At this point, whilst there's no atmosphere in here, it is all contained, which I'm actually quite happy about. We can't get over here, apparently. Yes, of course, because we can't access these walls behind the furnaces there. That's fine. It's not something we really needed to do anyway. Now, one of the last things that we can do, I'm going to relocate this in here. This is a disassembler for all of the wonderful droids that didn't make it. Let's hook that up to power. Oh, can we... Oh, we're at maximum connections. That's a bit of a pain. I suppose I can do down here, though. There we go. Now, with that, we should have processor settings. It should allow pretty much anything that can be disassembled to be disassembled. And from that, we'll get various components, such as microchips and raw metals, that will be very, very useful in rebuilding our droid complement, which is actually something we can work towards fairly quickly, I would say. But at the moment, establishing food production, we've got a tiny little bit left to go, I would imagine. Are we lacking protein, perhaps? Or have we reached the maximum here? Lighting is complete. Fantastic. Let's have a look. Cooked survival meal. Yeah, we just need a tiny bit more protein if we've got it. Well, we've definitely got protein, so that shouldn't be something that's too difficult for us to do. As for research at this point, well, I think while we're just finishing up that last task, let's have a look over some of the research options. You've got spaceflight and travel, so thrusters and the likes. We'll just pause time there. If we have a communicator and a teleporter, we can trade with other ships. Let's make sure we have a way to do this before we run out of essential materials. Pay attention to this, because microchips are probably the thing you're going to run out of first. And also, making the ship space flight ready. We would need a bridge and some thrusters. We should already have a thruster or two left, though we might have already lost that, in which case we can just rebuild a new one. That isn't too much of a problem. But let's continue looking through this. So you've got your spaceflight technologies. You've got your general technology area, so it's manufacturing, the ability to make clothing, the ability to make weapons and armor and explosives and the like, some more advanced items. Then you can get down into making bots, so you can make a cleaning bot, which honestly would have been very nice to have at this point, because the ship looks like an eyesore, and then the various drones, and finally a security drone for combat. We've also got over here on energy, and that leads into energy weapons there, kind of cross between security. You've got various means to generate energy, growing in scale. This we don't know yet, but I believe that is in fact in the game. It's just we've got to cross some sort of threshold in order to get to general construction research, so furnishings and the ability to build a little bit better. We've got biotech, so mostly things that are related to helping your colonists, either making them more comfortable or directly things to make it a little bit easier to provide for them. For example, recycling and nutrient extraction. You've got economy as well, because as I mentioned there in communications, there is trading, but there is also other things you can do in that you can start mining star creds. It seems that whilst Earth may have died, Ethereum lived on. You can get into that, or you can just do raw barter with traders, which is probably a lot easier. Advanced computing, you can upgrade your AI core. Terraforming, ultimately, to actually make a planet habitable for your colonists. Sadly, we didn't get to a point where I can actually show you the galaxy map, and of course then over here we've got science and various odds and sods. One of the things, though, that we didn't get close to doing, but I would actually like to show you, is operational efficiency. That's okay right now, but eventually the core will start to overheat and will need to dump. And you can mitigate some of that problem by building cooling racks nearby, which will help with managing the heat. But eventually, thinking thoughts just gets too much for the core, and you need to shut it down for a little while. And the colony just kind of runs for itself a little bit until it reboots, having dumped all or flushed all of that heat, which is a pretty cool mechanic, and it can lead to some interesting scenarios. You really do need to get to a point where your colonists can manage themselves whilst the AI goes offline for a little bit. But that is going to be it for this episode. I really do hope you have enjoyed. We actually made a fair bit of progress. Sadly, we did lose a colonist, as much as I was really trying to get things done before that happened. Again, the procedural generation of the destroyed ship can leave you with some pretty dire conditions to try and overcome in order to make an area habitable for freshly awoken colonists, and other times that this will be in the same room as your kind of sealed in, environmentally controlled area for your initial 2 colonists. It always seems that you start with 2, but I really do hope you have enjoyed this look at Stardius, and if you are interested in picking it up for yourself, it is now available in early access, and you can find links down in the description below. But that is going to be it from me and from our fleet of extremely advanced and super competent droids and 1 or 2 not entirely useless flashbacks. Until next time, take care, everyone.